we join back in with our adventurers. After last week, they had finally managed to gain access to the hidden, not hidden, student haven, the Tangled Mangrove, the Twisted Mangrove, sorry. Enjoying themselves a little bit, having some fun and exploring the delights on offer before meeting with one of the students that was assisting Moonshadow Jr. in their cart build, making a deal and a bit of a shady agreement from Dante. But if all is in hand, you will be able to get some items that should be able to cover you from divination spells. But also ran into Kanda, Volu's friend from the Feywild.
Yeah.
And upon having a quiet chat, Volu confirmed some things they had already thought to be true. And we're joining them now as Kanda had sort of left you guys and sort of left the soundproofed curtains up.
How you doing, Volu?
I'm gonna need some time.
Of course.
I'm also gonna think I'm gonna need a drink. So
Right. Stay here. Each of you will get up and go grab another round of beers.
Easy enough, easy. Just knock off 5 silver.
Yep.
and Volu's just gonna sit and drink, just contemplating, looking into the distance, just trying to figure out what to do next.
Have we had a big discussion about what Dante's chat was about? We had a...
No, you've not.
I haven't really discussed anything about it.
We had a mini one, just saying.
Yeah, we said.
He said it was sorted and that you were going to need to get some stuff, but not.
Yeah, we said. Well, I gave Eleni the list of books, and I said that I've dropped everything down to 400, I think. 5.
Cool.
I thought I got a little bit more because of the.
No, he asked for.
I've got 2 books with specific pages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely 500.
Okay.
For sure.
Cool.
Okay. I suppose though, there's a question now about the information that we had about this artifact and the Iris Knights and these items. Does that affect what we do next, or actually do we want to leave these things hidden? How do we want to? I mean, should we use this information at all?
Well, we mentioned that artifact that we found, and that the corruption is literally moving towards it.
Well, we think that was a piece of the artifact, don't we?
So we don't know if.
But we also probably know that we don't want to put those pieces back together. And
Yes.
That certainly the Iris Knights wouldn't want us putting those pieces back together. Or would they? I don't know.
Is there anyone we can talk to regarding securing that with the infection where it is? I'd be concerned if the infection was able to consume part of this sacred item.
Well, it was.
So,
sorry,
I was just last you left it. So you did mention to the guards and the priests that there was still infection inside, and it was still.
They can't do anything about it.
No, but also last Eleni left it, the golem was tearing up because the golem was still active.
Yeah.
Just depends if the golem will get infected again.
But
before he burns it off.
Eleni think, well, again, this is all assumptions, but Eleni thinks she's killed when Eleni fought it while you were being Tenebrese.
I killed the thing that was inside the infection, the thing that was, there was like an extra creature of some kind inside that. We finished that off. And I would also say that the golem was back up and running, and the infection was a good couple of rooms away from the vault, and the vault took some getting into. So we might want to try and secure the vault more, but I don't know how the infection would get inside there. Even if it made it to the outside of the vault, I don't know how it would get through that door.
I don't
Are we,
know.
are we all sat together for this conversation still?
Yeah,
I
you still
assume
sat in the
so.
booth.
Yeah.
Each in the bar.
I'd say each of you would have returned with the
Yeah,
with the
and
balls.
I'm sat drinking. I'll just pull my drink aside and go. Kanda mentioned that they believe that once somebody's cleared of the infection, they can't get infected again. So that may also benefit the golem.
That's good to know.
The only thing with worrying there is the golem is a construct. Does that follow the same rules?
And it was certainly trying to infect him again as we were fighting. I don't know if it would have actually taken hold because we were trying to stop it as well, but it was trying to take hold of the
If
golem
that
again.
was the same golem.
Volu, the only other thing you can think of is you saw all the guard captains and stuff that were down there. If they've cornered it off as a crime scene, do you know what I mean? You'd be able to sort of ask them. You could any of you have good enough because at the minute, obviously, all the guard units have like priests attached to them. So you have good enough sway with the temple that you could maybe get some information about what's going on down there at the minute.
That might be worth doing anyway, to be honest, just to make sure. So, like I said, there's this question of if the Irish Knights broke it up and hid it. That's what I've got written down.
No. Larix.
Oh, Larixa broke it down. Sorry.
Larixa broke up and hid it, and the Irish towers were built on top of it.
Yeah.
They were built around it, but none of them actually have any knowledge of
what it actually is.
About this thing is.
That's me reading my notes wrong. But I'm not sure that we want to put this thing back together anyway.
No. I'm worried if my concerns would be, as long as it's protected, it'll be fine. But if it gets infected, I don't know if that does anything or means anything to other planes or makes it more powerful. What? As well as, I'm hoping with all the magic that is in that place, the fire plane and the brass city aren't aware of this either. Don't see how they would have been, but I'm just hoping that's not the case, because it was him that was looking for this.
I mean, there was also, we talked about Lake Sif and a portal.
Oh shit, yes.
Liam, the temple I was a part of in Helix Landing that I was brought up in, well, trained in.
Yeah.
Were there any rooms, caverns, anything that I was told to keep away from? Anything that would hint that maybe there's one of these pieces in Helix Landing?
No. And one of the reasons that Bruce chose that fort is it was actually one of his ancestors' forts, as opposed to a fort that belonged.
So it's not Iris Knight in construction; it's just Iris Knight in use.
Yeah. It's like by the time he got you there, he'd been living in it like a few decades, and it was full of the stuff he decked out the courtyard as a bit of a training thing for himself, and he'd done prepped a room for alchemy and shit, but it was all misfitted rather than purpose built.
What if? Well, we know that these items are conduits, like magnets for this corruption. the corruption seems to want to get to them, whether or not that's to make itself more powerful or whatever, we don't know. But maybe that explains why the Iris Knights have that corruption about them. Maybe the extended exposure near this energy is what's making their abilities be peculiar. Maybe that's what's maybe driving them a little bit mad. Maybe that's why the Iris Knights seem to be so confused in what they're doing right now.
How come it didn't affect you? Weren't you near one of these ruins?
No, the one I was brought up in was never actually built as an Iris Knight temple. It was Bruth's home, really, which would explain why I never saw Bruth dealing with any corruption as well. That has to be it. Surely.
Maybe.
So, Liam, out of game just for a second, because I'm rereading my notes and I'm struggling to get my head around exactly what you told me, because there was a lot. And my writing's not great when I'm doing it fast.
Yeah, don't worry.
I've got here artifact, a slice of Astera into separate pocket realm.
Yeah, so the idea generally is to cut. Essentially, if you imagine that Astera is the part of the wheel that is wounded,
Yeah.
just to chop it off. So they aren't going to destroy or affect the planet as such as you know on a mundane level.
They're just locking it away from everything
They're going to
else.
sever all portals to the planes.
So what's that got to do with the artifact?
That's the thing that does it.
And this is the thing that Lavixa stole and broken to pieces.
Yeah, and hid away.
Right, because Lavixa didn't want Astera being separated off.
No.
Right, and neither do we. Okay.
I mean, to be fair, this is where it's up to you. I mean, for you guys personally, so each of you has a potential reason not to want. For the everyday person, it probably won't even change their life.
But if it separates us off, it doesn't get rid of the affliction or the infection, and eventually we're
yeah, it just traps.
Yeah, the other realms didn't care about that. They wanted to chuck us in a box and let the infection.
We're effectively the tumor at this point.
Yeah. That's okay, but we still need a way of fixing. So I think, yeah. So I don't know how and if this affects what we were going to do next. And Ichi and I were talking about this before we came to meet you guys earlier on today about where we should go next, if we're staying together, and what we should do. I know we were talking about potentially heading up towards Helig's Landing and even across the Sacred Isle. I mean, Volo, is that still something you want to do in light of everything they've told you today? I don't know.
Well, no, I don't know. Right now, I'm here, and that's where I'm going to stay. If that's where, if you need me because you're going to follow me, then I guess you're here too.
That makes sense.
Dante puts a hand on his shoulder. Could I maybe make the suggestion for just for the initial short-term view? Let's get these books and things done so that we can't be scryed on. And then we can get the protection from divination and potentially a way to block anything finding him. And then potentially, if Volu, you are happy, we go sort out this curing flame thing that enter person's name here told us about.
Kanda.
That one. And then at least then, if anyone was to get infected, at least any of us, hopefully I can burn it out of us before killing any of us.
Is the curing flame thing the thing in Lake Sif?
Yes.
This is the ritual that we can do.
Yes.
Okay.
So
it allows Dante to do the cure without necessarily killing people.
Yeah.
But that, at least then, if we got that, maybe we can harness it, spread it, give it to other people. But I'm just thinking for the initial moves, let's stop people, because at this point, right now, there's nothing stopping that a portal randomly appearing above us and having the brass city upon us.
Agreed. And
So-
things hunting you generally.
So let us get, I think that's the priority. Then, if we want to deal with the infection, let's get the cure. And in that time period, we can figure out what the next step is.
That makes sense.
Good. So, who wants to mix up some shots? We've still got like other paddles. You're muted.
You're on mute, Liam.
Yeah, and I'd say that you can continue on the night however you wish. It was obviously midnight.
Eleni is not getting drunk. She's had a couple of shots now. She is going to be watching.
The shots were not alcoholic, were they?
They're
No,
just
that's true. They were
arcane.
magical. But but we've had a couple of beers as well. Yeah, I think
Mhm.
she is just now going to be watching the crowd, keeping an eye out,
Mhm.
so that Volu can get drunk if he wants to.
Going to the door. Dante is surprisingly getting quite drunk because he hasn't for a few centuries.
He's a lightweight now.
Absolutely.
And for Ichi, what would you be?
Ichi's nursing that beer that that they went to go get with like just pen and paper out like in their notebook, looking like jotting possibles and hypotheticals of like what if these artifacts are what's causing the corruption within the Paladin Order, and then like after 3-4 pages of scribblings of ways to fix it, ways to get them away, possible things that they could do. There's also just another page where it's like, but what if that's not causing it? ... Then like a load more questions and being like, is this worse or is this better?
And so, does anybody want to do anything other than just generally drink out? Because obviously, like I said, it is quite late. How late are people staying? Are you planning to go to the morning?
Volu is staying at the bar until everyone else goes. He'll
This is
finish
a
his first
student bar. You're going to be there at like 7 o'clock in the morning still.
Dibs.
until you guys leave. I'm just consumed in getting drunk. Every time I go for a beer, I'll go up to the barkeep and go, "It's Ichi's round."
I second that.
So, and yeah.
When Ichi suddenly gets indebted to this bar, and Ichi's there like, what do you mean? I've got 500 gold's worth of a tab.
It's all right. At that point, we pin down Dante, steal his money because he never pays for anything.
I paid for the first round. What have
Yeah,
you
the
paid
first
for?
one. What about the rest of it?
Excuse me, have you paid for one?
I've paid for loads of other things, mate.
Not for me, you haven't.
It's because you don't
Ichi
deserve
has.
it.
But yeah.
Yeah, Volu is in a very isolated place, and he just wants to drink the pain away, and that's his. He doesn't want to lead. He doesn't want to wander. He's been told he needs to get lost because that's his mission. So he's going to get lost in beer.
I think at the point, if at any point Volu passed out, Aeleni would probably carry him home.
Yeah.
Do you want to make a progressive con saves? I'll say that for the same for Dante. If you want to make me.
I'm not carrying Dante home though. He can stay on the floor.
Ichi will
Under the
drag
table.
Dante home.
So what am I rolling?
Con save.
What's Ichi's buffer again?
You get plus my charisma, which is +3, I believe.
Oh, cool. 17.
6.
The Volu doesn't actually last that long. Volu's, I mean, you've already had 2 or 3. You obviously you drink a decent amount, but I think Volu hasn't really drank like this ever. As much as you party drank, where it's like happily, chugging through and then maybe getting another, you're like smashing them back, and you just drink the amount you might be able to handle over a night, but within half an hour, and it's just before you know it, the room's spinning. You've got your head sort of like between your hands. It's sort of hard to keep your head up. Dante, you're pretty good. That's towards the end of the first hour. We're getting to like 1 a.m. So and then Ichi and Eleni would see sort of Volu is up, but very, very slumped, very slurred.
But he's still trying to go over to the bar and ask for another drink.
Oh dear.
Volu, I think we should maybe go find somewhere for you to lie down.
Dante gets him a drink.
I'm going to wait to see if Volu can answer me, and if he can't, I'm going to pick him up and take him home. If he's capable of stringing a sentence together, then I'll probably let him stay for another drink.
I'll let you decide on that. You are poisoned essentially. You can add that as a condition.
Well, if you want to make the call, you make the call. I am doing what I need to do, and then I'll carry on stuttering over.
I'm literally just watching Liam for the point that he is incapacitated, incapable.
Okay. If it keeps going, doing another con save each. Yours are now at disadvantage, Volu.
6.
Do we get Ichi's bonus?
Yeah, that's with Ichi's bonus. That's with Ichi's +3.
It is up to Ichi at this point, because obviously, again, you don't have to. Just because they're stood within the distance of you, you have done it before where you just like, I'm not like. It's up to you whether you give or don't give, obviously.
I mean, I rolled a 15, so...
I mean, it's not going to matter for Volu.
Yeah.
I'm if you don't give it me, I'm a 3.
If you don't give it to me, I'm 19.
I think at this point, yeah, the aura isn't there because Ichi's worried about the mental state of the 2 companions.
Dante's just kind of more in it. He's not going wild or anything, but he's just kind of going, I like this.
It's more your casual demeanor to like getting Volu more drinks rather than.
I think it's more so. Yeah, that makes sense. But for Dante, he's just there's Volu next to him.
Yeah, like I fully get that it's probably more in that social aspect of like Volu goes, oh, another one, and you've just gone yes and. But Ichi looking back is like, this is worrying right now. Like in an everyday situation, fine, drink, be merry. Right now, that's where Ichi's starting to cock an eyebrow at it.
And I'd say as the second hour is coming to a close, Volu is essentially incapacitated, able to slur the occasional word, but basically just slumped into the booth, moving a hand every now and again. You talk to him and he like looks up at you, but there's no real coherent answer.
I am assuming that I can carry Volu as well as the sword on my back.
Very easily.
Okay. Then yeah, I will nod at Ichi and scoop Volu up.
As they kind of do that, Ichi will sit at the bar next to Dante. You continuing, or you ready to call it as well?
I don't mind. What do you want? You're pretty.
Thank you.
You know, Tenebris really didn't like you. He saw that you were special to me, and he wanted to really come after you. I'm glad he didn't hurt you.
I'm sure it was more to do with the fact that I was so determined to keep him away. After all,
No. When he's in here, you know he goes, and I've seen it, and he didn't like you. Ugh.
I'm glad he's stuck in that sword now, then, or at least part of him.
Yeah. Prick.
Right, let's get you to bed, buddy. Come on.
I love you.
Love you too.
I assume we're going back to the temple, or are we going back to the safe house?
Up to.
Dante's just been taken where he gets taken.
Yeah.
I feel like
Eleni and Ichi.
I feel like this might be more of a temple.
Mm.
Like the more positive environment we're in, rather than like safe house, it's quite isolated. Like I want
I
there
think
to
temple's
be.
probably closer as well, to be honest.
Yeah. Also, temple's best place if you're gonna have a hangover.
Just think of that lovely porridge with maple and bacon or whatever it was that
I'm just thinking that
Well,
lesser
we went.
restoration.
But yeah, you would easily be able to make your way. The streets are quiet. There's still the increased level of guards sort of moving around up in the around the bastion and around the Zenith ward, as you would sort of expect that sort of more patrolled areas. And you notice as you're moving closer to the temple, there are a few like in pairs sort of priests, not like loudly moving around, but just sort of keeping an eye on things, maybe doing a stroll. You see a few of them like casting prayers on areas or whatever, and doesn't seem like anything specifically magical. It does seem all spiritual, but in the chantry area specifically, that is, they seem to be moving around.
Okay.
But you would be able to make your way back to the temple. I think by the time you arrived, you would see that High Priest Arcanez's room's doors closed. There's still a soft light under the doorway, but obviously they have gone to bed for the night. A attendant that you notice is sort of looking after the main pew area sort of would notice and recognize you, and they don't really come and address you like civilians anymore.
I think I would just sneak in and not disturb anybody if I can help it, and just, very quietly make our way to the room. And if there isn't room for me in that room where the other three were, I'll go back to.
They prepped 2 bunk beds because they didn't know what you were doing. But to be fair, as you go in after tonight, you maybe don't need to stay in. Although the other thing maybe that eases Dante's mind, and maybe you want to stay here for a bit longer, is things can't portal into this room either. Because it's magic circled.
I would still be setting up alerts anyway, just in case, like I always do.
As I just imagine Ichi kind of putting Dante into bed. Hey, Zona, truth me.
Why?
Zona, truth me. My name is Dante Vicken.
Ichi has the book out, is open, hasn't actually started casting Soda Troop before Dante just passes out. Ichi pops their legs in, pulls up the covers, tucks them in.
No shackles?
No shackles. No shackles.
Yeah, big sword goes under one of the beds, probably under the bed that I'm sleeping in, or Ichi's sleeping in, one of those. And same with Volley, really. Tuck him in, make sure he's comfy. Get a very large jug of water, just for them to drink, and
I'd say under your bed, but we'll
okay.
also alarm around it as well, just because I have quite high passive perception, so hopefully if things start going, that'll wake me up anyway.
To be honest, I think I'll alarm that rather than the door, because we've got that ward on it as well.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Is it a loud alarm?
It's a very
Yeah,
loud alarm
Just
in
a
my
not
head.
out loud one. Well, do you
Mhm.
want
In
it
your
in
head.
your
Do we
head or
want
do
it
you
as
want it out
auditory
loud?
or just in your head?
You
I
can
would
have
have
it
it
out
as
loud as
I
well.
would have it in my head, I think.
In which case, you can all check off a long rest.
Oop.
You wake up a bit later, about 9:30. You would start to hear them. You can already hear the movement from the kitchens and the priests on the other side of the door. The light has already begun to shine in through the window. What would you like to do today? Volu, as you are, Volu and Dante are not looking the best as you open your eyes. Dante, you're not as bad. Volu, your stomach is trying to expel the poison that you ingested yesterday.
That light is too loud.
Yeah, they're like that sometimes, buddy.
Is there a window in the room?
Yeah.
Volu's gonna wander over to the window, start to feel his stomach go, and as he's chucking his guts out the window, he's gonna cast Gust to try and like push it to the ground faster so it doesn't splatter everywhere.
Okay.
Oh God, where is this window to?
Hopefully external.
Hopefully
Luckily,
external and hopefully not on top of anybody.
Volu
It is-
doesn't care.
No. Luckily, there is no one below. It does seem to be like an alleyway sort of cut through between the buildings.
I mean, seriously, we do have bedpans and things, you know. It's like,
Not quick enough. Not quick
Yeah.
enough.
Might not have heard it. But yeah, what would you like to do with your morning?
Oh,
I am going to say to Volu, do we want to share any information with the High Priest? I'm happy not to. It's up to you. I mean, obviously not about your circumstances, but perhaps about Lake Sif and this ritual that Dante might be able to go through to help him heal things.
I mean, there's no harm in that because if Dante starts healing them and not killing them, they'll figure out that we did something.
And we're going to have to leave the city for an amount of time, and then
Maybe
come
not.
back.
Maybe we don't talk about the artifact. Maybe.
No, I'm happy to keep that bit quiet. But I reckon Lake Sif is to get there and do this ritual and get back. I'm assuming it's going to be a couple of weeks.
Not
I
weak.
don't know if you've set the thing, Liam, on the map.
We're in Cadfessi, and the
Yeah.
lake is just to the
Because
southwest of it, isn't it?
wasn't Clearpool. I
It's
haven't
literally
set the
just
thing
a
on
little
the-
bit northeast.
But Clearpool all the way up was like 2 weeks. So
But it's a good. So it's maybe
But-
3 days journey to the lake,
yeah,
isn't it?
It'll be a week. Yeah, it'll be a week there and back.
yeah.
And then the ritual
Then
in the middle.
whatever
So
you
let's
need to,
say
and then
maybe
whatever
a
you need
week
to
and
do
a
in the
half,
middle.
right? Maybe, depending on how we travel, and hopefully there's
Jumps
nothing
out
to
at us.
deal with us. Yeah, and in the meantime.
Do you all want to make me? Well, actually, no. All of you make me intelligent. Just a straight intelligence check. I'd say probably Eleni. You probably got the
natural
best.
20.
You
That's
guys
I think
good.
that's the
got
first nat 20 I've had in a while.
that one.
I got a nat 1, and my intelligence is my thing.
23
intelligence.
Yeah, sorry, Liam. You said my name.
So saying you probably got the map out.
Yeah.
You like Eleni is probably actually tracking for the
Being
days
the
and stuff.
ranger, yeah. It's only a
21.
10 though.
Okay, so Eleni, you're probably more thinking like, okay, food and preparations. Because while you are the ranger, I don't think anybody here has Outlander. So
No.
as a background.
No, I don't.
Me. Hi.
Are you Outlander?
Oh,
I am Outlander.
Okay.
I'm haunted.
Okay, that's
me
fine.
too.
Yeah, it just made sense with all like the wandering around like the desert and
the
everything.
nomadic.
Yeah, nomadic.
So Eleni's still probably thinking about a little bit about food and rations and supplies and other things. You probably want an amount of them, even if you are going to hunt and other things.
I was going to say, I do have in forests and desert natural explorer, so I am able to find food while foraging and tracking creatures and that kind of thing. But I
Mhm.
know we're not specifically going through forest at that point.
No,
so.
that's it. No, this is it. So if you're headed northwards, you'll be fine, and if you head to the Lauviette, but Dante, no, not Dante, sorry, Ichi, and Volu, when you first entered the city, or when you were first coming up, you fought those wyverns. You spoke to Sir Arthur about it. Or yeah, and I think you spoke to somebody else when you arrived in the city as well. And he said that quite a few wyverns were pushing out of the area, their natural territories, which were way east up the mountain range.
I can't remember who said it, but yes, there was someone who said about the wyverns being more populous than usual.
They're straying even further from where they should be, and
it was the guards, wasn't it?
I thought it was the guards as well.
Yeah, because when I rode the dragon down, wyvern down.
I think it might have been like mildly repeated by maybe Sir Arthur or something like.
But yeah, normally they would range these end peaks, which obviously you guys know is a good. I mean, not by flight, but it's a good week away. Normally they're not a problem for the city. And then obviously you were encountered down here, so you know.
Yeah, a good 100 miles away.
So something obviously might still be causing issues.
And it's the same mountains that we've got the infection in.
Yeah, obviously much deeper, but only about this far from where Cadfesti is, if in the grand scheme of things on this map. It's maybe under this range, under this peak here, is where you found the temple or the Lyrixon build place.
Okay, so I'm happy to go and update Arcanair about Lake Sif. I think we then need to think about provisions. And it might be worth topping up on health potions if we haven't already. I think we talked about that last week as well.
I think
yesterday.
Whilst some of us are doing that, shall I or anybody get these books copied down?
Well, yeah. Who wants to go and visit the library?
I can do that, or me and Volo.
Yeah, Dante, you're probably best being here and helping out as much as you can.
Actually, I was thinking maybe I would be better because I still have a pass and access, but I don't. Look like Dante anymore.
Don't we all have passes?
Ooh, no.
Well, he's saying he doesn't look like they used to.
No, they might just be able to check the pass, but you know.
I didn't think the passes had our pictures on though.
Nope.
No, but there may be an ID number.
But you're still you. That doesn't matter whether you look the same.
No, he's just saying. I think it adds a layer of separation rather than it being like, oh, we saw one of the burning chaotic embers coming.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's true.
How dare you forget our name?
I always try and say burning.
I always I don't know why. I just thought it was like, oh, I saw one of the Birdie group. that Bernie lot over there. That one.
No, I always try and say burning embers, and then remember.
Yeah. So no, that does make sense. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind who does that.
So Dante going alone, or
I was going to say Dante and Volo. I'm more than happy to stay behind.
Are you staying to protect the sword?
That help with whatever's here.
Like I said, we can leave it here or we can take it with us. I do think as well, it's probably worth speaking to the guards and just checking that the vault is safe and protected. So one of us could do that maybe as well.
As long as the sword doesn't get left anywhere, I'm happy to take it with us if needed.
Well, if we're taking it with us, I'll take it. I'll strap it onto my back. But if
Okay.
people are staying in the temple, we can leave it here.
I'm happy to stay in the temple. I can have that conversation with the guards and the priests while also just watching
Okay.
over the sword. Also, I guess training our little guy a little bit more.
Which is what I'm going to be doing in real life soon.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, so Volu and Dante going to steal some information from some books. Eleni heading off to get some provisions.
Yeah.
And Ichi doing some training and watching the sword.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
What did we
Well-
name the dog again?
Oh, that's a question for Chris.
Sir Reginald Rufus.
We did actually give it a name.
Yeah.
Well, we
so-
joked about it being Doris too, but I didn't think we were
Yeah,
serious.
there was a name
It's
that
gonna
was
change.
given.
It's gonna change every week. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
To be fair,
This dog is never going to be
Rufus was meant to be my first dog's name.
cute.
Rufus is a good name for a dog.
Rufus.
Yeah.
I do like Rufus.
I like
So-
Woof. I like Woofus.
Rufus. Oh
That's kind of like where it came, like where the idea was going for it.
yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I've
I'm
never
writing it
been
down.
happier than I am right
So
now.
Rufus.
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 Rufus,
Okay.
hey boy. It sounds like the guy, what's it? Caesar in Monty Python.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like no one is ever going to be intimidated by our group. Like, bearing in mind how we aesthetically look could be quite intimidating. And then it's going to be like, go get him, Woofus. Rawr.
Pontius Pilate, isn't it, that can't say his ass?
Yeah.
Mm.
No more Rudolph for Wed
Oh,
No Fun Day.
wascally wabbit.
Rascally. But yeah, okay. So, Eleni, you would be able to set off. How it's not hard. We don't necessarily need to fully role play out the shopping aspect of
Good.
things. But what are you going for in terms of actual
So,
days worth?
so I'm going to say as well, I don't have huge amounts of money left, but I was just thinking we probably need rations. I know we don't normally count these things, but we are going to need at least a week's worth of rations. I know that I can try and hunt and stuff as well, to sort of top that up. I'm also wondering, I think I would probably ask within the temple for things like healing potions. If we need those, I mean, I've got
I
one,
have
two,
two
three.
and a potion of greater healing.
So we might be all right for healing potions because I've got 2 and 1 greater. Chris?
I know I'm out for healing potions because I gave them to you guys.
But I thought you shared them out. I thought you kept some for yourself.
No, 'cause at the time I didn't know what I might die, so I was just like,
Okay.
you guys took everything of mine.
I have a single greater healing potion.
So we probably
Uh,
need 3 or 4 normal healing potions so that we can give you a
Okay.
couple each.
Um,
Yeah.
Did we? I know this is going back a long time. Did we use the 2 gunpowder barrels in the Doomhacker?
Yes.
Definitely used one.
Well-
Yeah, no, we definitely used one.
I actually still have written down that we have smoke bombs.
Smoke bombs are like with the
Yeah.
little things, but the actual 2 barrels of. So we got
I've
2.
got I've got a
definitely
keg of
use one of them.
pitch.
Sorry,
got-
Liam, what?
You definitely used one of them.
Yeah, I've got a
to
keg of
mess up
pitch
the
left
witch.
and some smoke bombs.
Yeah, we blew up the scientist, the
Mm,
infected scientist.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you used it during the fight, not during the race.
So that means that we still got one left.
If we didn't leave it there,
If
because
you wrote it on your
Yeah.
Character
If it's on the
sheet.
character sheet, you can have it.
Dante.
Oh, I wrote it on there.
Prove it.
You're a liar, yeah.
Share your screen right fucking now.
I don't even need him to. He lies with the same face with my children at school do.
That's just my face.
I'm loving this because I know when my kids are lying.
Yeah, that's how I know. That's how I know.
That's a face I'm very familiar with.
Yeah, I've seen that
So-
face in the mirror.
What's
So are we
brilliant
doing
is that when I go, I know you're lying. None of them can resist smiling at that point, and then I've got them.
Mhm.
That is
Yeah,
it. That's
I'm
it.
gonna
Like
say-
even
I'm
even
gonna
if
say
you
no,
don't
you
know
don't
that they
have it.
are, just say it and see who
Mhm.
responds and be like,
Yeah.
ah.
So,
Yeah, I'm gonna say no, you don't have it, but obviously you do know where to get more.
oh, okay, shame.
So we're saying basic food and stuff. 4 potions of healing. Like I said, I've also got. I might want to get some more caltrops, Liam. Just basic, refill my explorer's pack, the kind of stuff I would normally have. I've still got a potion of climbing. It says here I've got a keg of pitch. If we ever needed that, we could
You've
use
got the
that.
pitch still.
Yeah, because we didn't really
you
do
do
Where
anything
still
are
have
you
it.
transporting a keg of pitch?
What's
It's-
I
pitch?
mean, it's
I am a strong girl.
it's
Like
it's a keg,
It's
right?
a
Like
little-
that,
a keg like that, but that's still like
Yeah, but she
That's-
does have the carry capacity.
What is pitch?
it's like thick tar.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Cool.
That you can set on fire.
sticky
Yeah,
flammable,
Yeah.
stick
sticky
things.
flammable.
You know in
Um,
like medieval sieges that like stuff that they would boil and then pour down like the ramparts. That's pitch.
Yeah.
Interesting.
'Cause it
Thank you.
sticks to you molten like
Yeah.
it's
And then you
horrible.
set people on fire. But yeah, so things like ball
You
bearings.
sounded too happy about that, Em.
I don't know what you mean. Yeah, I'd like to sort of replenish my ball bearings and my
Yeah.
caltrops and those basic bits. But yeah, other than the health potions, I don't think I'm after anything particularly special because the main thing I think for us is these proof against detection. I think if we've got that actually helps us. And I'm not sure I'd want to leave the city with this sword without those.
Yep, Dante is very much in agreement with that. He's not there, but he very much agrees with it.
So yeah, so I'm probably better off getting the potions from the temple, aren't I? And getting all the other stuff from the market.
Mhm.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and they are easy enough to pick up out and paying standard price. You can just add them.
Okay. I would also want to pop in and just say hello to Dana. And can't remember the name of the lady who owns the pub across the road. That's good.
Alora.
Got
Puppy lady.
Alara, yeah. So maybe go and say Alara and just sort of pop in and have a bit of a catch up with them, let them know that we're okay, that because we haven't spoken to them in a few days.
Yeah.
So I would just do a bit of a hi, we're fine, we're okay, how you doing, blah blah blah, and a bit of a catch up with them before I head back.
Yeah. Okay. Easy enough. So I'd say the drop down to the market again is fairly standard. You'd be able to head up, and I'll say that as you're sort of arriving into that road that has them on, I will flick over to. So yeah, like I said, whatever you've got the money, the price for, you can just add them.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Roller and Dante, you make your way down to the Mythic Ward.
So I'm thinking next time we eat first, then we drink.
Uh,
Then that way, when you're sick, it's not all this stuff down your front.
no, I gusted that away. Like that's just breakfast crumbs.
Mm.
Yeah, you'll be able to make your way into the Mythic Ward. It is much quieter around the Mythic Ward at this early in the morning. There's a few people moving around, but mostly either in classes or recovering.
Are you able to disguise yourself at all? Not just saying it's needed, but I mean, if I look like someone else, good idea if you did as well.
Let me see if I can.
I don't think disguise self is a cleric spell, but I can't remember. or if you got a disguise kit or anything.
I don't think I've got anything.
Okay, it's fine. I was just thinking.
I can do this. Just put my cloak over my head, but
I'm glad you haven't got a really standout design on your cloak.
it's leaves for a reason.
Yeah, let's leave it alone.
Hmm.
Okay, so you would be able to go up to the library. You know, Volu, Dante, you have been here. Yeah, I just don't know if
I
you've.
can't remember.
You were here with the group. You just weren't doing anything in the library. You sort of you waited for them to finish off things. Volu, you have been in. You know that for the main bit, no one's gonna bother you or impede you. You're able to just sort of walk in. When you reach points of access, you will have to sort of present the sort of token from the city that you were given.
Do we know anything about these books beforehand? We know obviously the names of them and that, but do we know what they are necessarily about?
I mean,
Have we ever heard of them?
I mean, you can read the names of the books.
Does that provoke anything from the name of the books? Any memories? Any inkling into what it is?
What's the? Do you wanna paste the names?
I mean, I've written the names down. I don't know if anyone else did.
We all know I haven't. There's no point even doing this dance.
Just unbelievable.
Thank you
I
for your
assume
honesty.
that they would have given them the paper. Looking at the paper, the names are just Veins of Earth, A Study of Living Stone, and The Last Song of the Hollow Choir.
Does that provoke anything?
Did we all do a roll to see if we knew anything about them? I can't remember.
No, I don't remember doing that.
Cool.
So, just trying to figure it out. I think both of you could make a Arcana. Dante, yours with advantage.
Yeah, buddy. Oh, nice. 23.
I need to change dice. That's the third 2 I've had tonight.
Nice, JL.
2.
Oh, yeah. Well, you've got no clue. That's some long ass book names that you would have got.
It is banned.
Yeah, you don't have any knowledge on that one. For Dante, you don't have any knowledge of the veins of the earth of the study of living stone one. That one, it doesn't even sort of sound like a book that it doesn't sound like a fiction book or anything. So it almost reads more like a experiment or study or something like that. The Song of the Hollow Choir, Last Song of the Hollow Choir. You don't have anything on the last song section, but the Hollow Choir were supposed to be a famous set of fae songs and curses.
Oh, cool.
That were supposedly lost. So you don't know whether this book is the actual. So the actual Hollow Choir were it was this almost in the same way as so an organization like the Harpers, right? So they are groups of bards and other sort of things that were said to have collected and found these songs. You don't know whether this book is those songs or whether it's somebody studied them and maybe found out where some artifacts were or something, and maybe that, you know, you're not sure. And unfortunately, just from the page numbers, there's no other details until you get to the book and take a look.
Cool. So presumably we just go that.
Are you just moving through? So you walk into the library, so an attendant does sort of look up and waves at you to sort of show that they are there, but obviously you can just sort of move left and right into the bookshelves.
Yeah. For some reason I just imagined it as kind of like a big white room, which you almost.
That's the scriptorium.
Oh,
Which is
right.
so the scriptorium, which focuses more on actual pieces of text and actual historical artifacts and things like that, whereas the library is literally a library. It's a very big glass library, but it is.
There's loads of stuff on like the brass city and
you would
stuff
want to
where
go.
I was looking, wasn't I?
Yeah. Yeah, if you imagine that, like, if you wanted to see the actual scroll that Larixa's spell was on, you would go to the scriptorium. If you want to read the book about the research that was done about it, you would go in the library. Right?
So we have to
So,
go to
so the scriptorium is more seeing the physical historic pieces. You want the book library because these look like studies. These don't look like actual historic text pieces.
Oh, right.
These look like a student or wizard studied this shit and then restricted what was found.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we're going to go start looking for these things.
Okay, so yeah, you go in. It takes a little bit of time just for that there's almost, if you imagine, there's still the sections of the library. You make your way all the way through to the back to where the restricted areas are. But if you remember that there's not a specifically necessarily restricted section as such. There is a small area for really, really heavy stuff, but often there are just books on the shelves that are just magically chained in. So give me investigations. You can either do one at advantage or
what do you want to do about it? Oh, you rolled yours, so okay. Do you just say nat?
Yeah, nat 20. So, good, nice dice.
21.
So, Volley, what was yours? Sorry.
Nat 20.
Oh Jesus. Okay, so does not take you guys any time. You almost split up. Dante, you knowing what you know about the Hollow Choir, you do think that book will be in the like heavily restricted area. It is said some of the myths and legends that you've heard of them are like could curse entire cities with their songs, sort of thing. So you immediately like, right, I'm gonna go to like the restricted room and start poking around in there. Volu, the veins of earth and the study of they're like you're not sure, but you get to a bit that's sort of all about earth magic and things like that, and mining and all those other sorts of things. And you start looking around, and you actually like get a little bit distracted, and you sort of like reading through the pages, and then you see like two little spiders, and they're sort of like moving around, and they look like they're maybe just going about the business, and you sort of watch them, and your mind sort of stills for a moment, and you follow them along, and then when you look up, you're like 3 shelves down from where you were, but standing right in front of a big magically chain bound book that says Veins of Earth, Study of Livingstone.
Sweet. Am I able to just pick up the book or?
Presenting your badge, the chains would open up. It is almost more like it's a space that opens up and you slide it out, and it stays there open as you are. So Dante, you would know that for your one, so obviously for the one that you've unlocked, so the veins of earth and stone, you're sort of able to take it and move to like a reading area. Dante, for your one, it's not allowed to leave the restricted area.
Ooh. Cool. Do I get it?
You would after maybe Vola, you find yours as
But I can go to the restricted area.
oh yeah, and you can take this book with you to that.
Yeah, so I'll head towards Dante.
So I'd say Dante, you're still looking when Volu turns up with his book, even getting distracted, then that's 20. You are searching through like dusty tome after dusty tome. People haven't been in here in a while. But you do eventually find the last song of the Hollow Choir.
While we're here, is there anything that might help us with anything else? Because don't know about you. If this guy is shady and we're giving him some shady stuff, our passes could be revoked. So just saying, now's a good time to do a bit of research if you wanted. Even if it's, I don't know, something on fire salts for food.
I guess we could maybe look a bit more into elemental fire, see if it can be transferred anyway, or if it can be stored and harnessed.
It's a very good idea. I like that. But let's deal with this now first.
Okay.
So, yeah, we kind of, my investigation originally was 21. So,
yeah, you were able to find it. And again, this restricted room is still like an area where they expect you to study, right? So there are little booth tables and things. It's not like a little store cupboard. It's still a section of the library that, and actually probably a little bit nicer because the only people that really come in here are high up scholars and people of importance.
It doesn't smell as musky and teen-like.
more musky.
Maybe a bit more musty, but the actual leather is still plump and like it's not got bits torn out of it, or some students written something in unremovable ink along the set.
Dante pulls out a pipe from nowhere and lights it with his hand.
Okay. So what was it? It was page. Okay, so it's page 352 in this one.
115 in mine.
Shall we do the we can do on each if you want. I'll pull out some of my tinker box and it should have like some tools just to scry on a bit of paper.
It's good. Firstly, what are we actually like?
Yeah, what do we're reading it? Do we have
So
what's
are you
on those
just
pages?
clicking straight to the page and looking at what's on the page?
To start with, if the
Okay, yeah, that's fine. That is fine. I just wanted to see if you were looking at like the preface, the like intro first, or whether you're looking at the flicking to the page.
To be honest, as much as Chris probably wouldn't, I feel like Dante might, out of curiosity, his intelligence aside.
Let's say Dante thumbing over the front of yours. I'm going to say Volu, your intuition. You're just like 352. Find what I'm looking for. So Dante, the book itself is a study on. It's almost like a history and investigation into what happened to the Hollow Choir and if any of their songs, curses, or bardic spells could be recovered. A lot of their songs, you know where it gives that preface of what was found.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the songs and curses seem to function as magical contracts, binding those who hear them to unseen bargains. Some songs are fulfilled via dance. So it was found that in something like 1000, in the year 1000, there was a group on the material plane using this tactic to bind people unknowingly. They set up and start the song, and anybody that finishes the dance essentially agreed to it. That was investigated and shut down at one point. Interestingly, as you're like sort of pondering over it, can you make me a charisma save, please, Dante?
Haven't got the sword on me, guys. I'm fine. Absolutely fine.
Oh dear.
It's when Eleni has to start doing saves that you need to start worrying.
Oh my god, if Eleni gets possessed.
12.
So
I wasn't a good elf.
No, that really wasn't a good elf.
Oh, we're fucked.
okay, so
I don't have a weapon. It's fine.
pause on Dante for a moment.
Yeah, we do
Oh,
need to
God.
get you a weapon.
Volu, you flick straight to 352. And it to the untrained eye, stone is but a cold and lifeless medium, existing only to be shaped by mortal hands. It's almost like, it sounds like a researcher journal, almost, right? And they're like, there's quotes and things, and yet to those who listen, who truly feel the pulse, there is life. And it's basically talking through the theory of lithosentience suggests that certain geological formations, mountains, caves, and deep-seated veins of minerals, under that statement, there is a little note. Some of these are like clips from other books. And there's a little note under the deep-seated veins of minerals, Zikar, question mark. Possess a form of latent consciousness. Not in a manner of beasts or men, but in a manner that transcends fleeting life. Sentient formations referred in old dwarven text as stone wardens do not think as we do. Their awareness is vast. And essentially, this thing continues for this entire page, documenting essentially how they think there's evidence for it. And they believe under the right circumstances, stone could be, or veins or other such things could be awakened, not in a sense of like walking and talking as such, but actually in a sense of being able to learn information it knew. So one of the examples on the page that you are reading is going to an old fortification that was destroyed in a battle and asking the fort to tell you what happened. And using magic and spells to actually learn from the land itself.
So like speak with plants, but towards stone.
Yeah. The research wasn't ever super completed. However, interestingly, Volu, not the page they want, but the page, like 2 or 3 pages after, there is a sketch of the golem that you fought down in the temple, or that was fighting down in the temple, with a title, Living Golem. And again, this looks like a hodgepodge of research notes and other things. But the book itself seems to be focused on how to activate this. And you can see, again, this one page from the book you're reading, Volu, you're a bit like, you can see maybe why it was banned, in terms of they definitely, by the author seems to be claiming they successfully did it. And obviously you might not want every Tom, Dick and Harry bringing to life things, but also, Volu, you're getting the impression a little bit that like some books in this library are probably controlled for political reasons, and some are controlled for dangerous reasons. If you imagine you don't really, if the people in power are changing every few years, you don't always want the people to just be able to access the memories of the land and know forever what happened here. In truth, that sort of idea. And as you're doing this, you sort of, what would you do? Do you speak out loud as you're reading? Are you like, what are you sort of?
So I'd be reading it, and it resonates a little bit because I have a connection to Astera. I feel that it's a living embodiment, that everything has a connection. So it makes logical sense to me that the veins of ore in rocks could contain something to a level of sentience. So I'd be like, no, okay, this guy's onto something. I wonder if he's been down where we were. I'd look up who wrote it and if they were based in Cadfesi.
So, this seems to have been written by a mage called Gilroy Ever.
Gilroy Ever.
However, definitely as you sort of look to the beginning of it, this looks old. Like, you can see some of the references in it. They're like talking about the mountain range nearby, but not talking about the city of Cadfesi, things like that. There's no, and maybe it's just that they're not giving details and you would have to look a bit more, but the book itself you think is probably older than a person would be alive still.
Okay.
And as you sort of ponder into this, you sort of look up and Dante is just holding the book, mumbling to himself.
Dante. I'll listen out for what he's mumbling.
Got a lovely bunch of coconuts.
Yeah.
There we are, standing in a row. Bum, bum, bum.
As he bomb, the torch and fire flame nearby begins to fizzle and flicker, and books and pages start to as if being blown by a wind that is nowhere to be seen.
One small one, some as big as your head.
A book off a shelf, another.
Can I cast Lesser Restoration on him?
It's nicer than a slap.
I mean, yeah, you're no longer. So you hit with a lesser restoration. You're no longer poisoned. You can give me another charisma save if you like.
13. My charisma's +3. I thought I'd have a better option.
Feel free to continue with your phone.
I don't know any no
Do you not know the rest? Oh, bro.
I've literally known it from
Big
Lion
one,
King.
small
That is it.
one, some.
Yeah, no, I said that bit.
Did you?
But what's the next bit?
Okay,
Yeah,
seeing that worked temporarily, I'll then take the book that's in my hand, and it's a big old book, and whack him round the face with it.
Okay, so I'm gonna say as it collides with you, we won't do any damage. There's no need for damage or any other such thing. But it knocks the book of the song of the last song of the Hollow Choir, and it shuts. And Dante, you just sort of like, you definitely phased out for a second.
Oh, it wasn't him, was it? He wasn't here.
No, I don't think so. Whenever we had Tenebris before, he was either very good at hiding it or not singing about coconuts. What did you read in that book?
Firstly, do I retain any of the stuff that I...
Yeah, well, you read on the page, none of what happened in the singing, and to be clear, he sang about coconuts. It was It was in actually interestingly, you recognised it. It wasn't about coconuts. It was in Sylvan.
Oh, I know Sylvan, yeah.
And it was
I
more.
don't anymore.
It was more. It sounded more like they will return, they will come back. Was more like the theme of what he was singing about, as opposed to coconuts.
They were. I was reading. I was just reading some of the first parts of it. It was something about contracts and tricking people into having some sort of magical contract. I hear you. That happens in the Fae. Am I right? Quite a lot. Everything is contract and term based.
Not just in the Fae. I've quickly learned that it's pretty much the same here.
But
maybe not magically. So, but
not usually when to inviting someone to a dance. And once that dance is completed, suddenly that person owes them something.
an action for an action. It's the same everywhere.
And I'll say, in terms of this material plane, you have shit like, we just did a job. That job went a bit sideways, and now we fucking owe these people. That's the same as an unwritten contract.
Yeah.
That's what I was alluding to.
Volu met a guy on the road, helped them in a task, and then owed people money, right? Like that was Volu was like, oh, I'm used to this shit.
Yeah. So you were reading it, so maybe the reading is what caused it. So if we need to copy it, maybe we copy it but don't read it.
What was your book about?
It kind of just an extension of what we know about. I mean, we know, well, what I believe anyway. We know that Astera is a living organism, and the person was just saying that it extends to rocks and minerals. It's called the veins of Astera, veins in your body, veins of the earth. They were just postulating that. It's quite interesting, actually. But they were saying that that the rocks could have memory, and with the right tools and circumstances, you could almost harness that.
So, if we put these two things together, do we think they want to find something and then trick someone into a deal?
Maybe not someone, but something.
He,
There was a picture of a golem in there. It could be that they want to trick the golem.
a golem.
Yeah, in this bit here, and I'll flick to the page.
Obviously, assuming I recognise it as well.
It doesn't look like, it's not like identical, but it is like, if you imagine the variance that would happen from somebody hand making a thing over and over.
I would quite like to read this book, I think, and also maybe take notes down, because I think Ichi might appreciate some of this. Volu, are you able to read minds?
No, I can communicate telepathically, but not really.
Okay.
So I can say this to you, and I'll say in my head, "Why were you singing about coconuts?" But I can't hear your reaction, but I can see it on your face.
Well, we're here to do a job, so let us.
So why don't I hold the book down? So because it seemed to be when you weren't holding the book, and then you scribble, and then that will get it onto the page at least.
So, Volu, as you sort of, firstly, so you sort of pick up and open the book. Dante, Do you know, like when you are falling asleep on the sofa and you are trying not to, and you're getting flashes of the TV before your eyes shut, and then you're getting another flash of the TV before your eyes shut? The second that book opens, it's like you are so struggling to keep your eyes open. Volu, for you that's not under it, and now that you're focused, there is a very, very soft whisper coming from the book. And you shut it, and it silences. But interesting, Volu, you weren't affected. Didn't seem to bother you.
Dante, why don't you sit down for a moment? It seems I might need to do this on my own.
I could do the other book if you like.
I mean, I've done most of it, but here you go. Sit down. Then, as he sits down with the book, I'll open it and start scribbling as quickly as I can.
As he's doing that, I'm going to walk away from the book a little bit. That he is putting me to sleep. Is there just like, so I'm just going to be looking and I'm just going to be comparing it along those lines. And I'll be there with like just a pen and just kind of like checking and things. Is there anything on this page that I could do to change the odd word or meaning?
In terms of what you've copied down?
Yeah. So, for example, like literally, I'm trying to think of a word, but do you remember we had that thing where you can change, if you change the word, like letters of a spell, we make it do something else.
You can change a single letter of a spell to make it do.
I kind of want that, but just like.
So you want to sort of obfuscate what it means. You're just changing the odd thing here and there to give it a different.
Yeah, just so minor. Just so, like, for example, I mean, now it's copied. I'm assuming he's probably copied the little scribble saying Zika on there, because I mean, I might have changed that to something else. But instead of it being like, oh yes, this a man is looking for a bed, it could be the man is looking for Ed, and it's like, who's Ed? So I know it's really badly kind of example, but
no, give me I get what you're trying to do. Give me a straight intelligence. If you have any sort of forgery skill, you could add that in.
I do not. I'm incredibly dexterous. Or dexterous.
Dexterous.
And it is less changes like, and it's probably a job of like you might have to copy it out again, and it's less changes of like words like bed to Ed, but more there's certain things where, so for example, if you change where it sort of says little things like adding may possess instead of possesses. So there's like, there is evidence, there may be evidence. You add that little maybe in, or that there may, and it changes the flavor of the text to be concrete to be theoretical.
Yeah, and but I did say, like, just if there's any guidance in how to do anything, that's in particular an area that I would want to.
What did you roll to?
Oh, I haven't rolled yet.
Give me a roll.
Intelligence, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dirty 20. No, yes.
So I'd say, again, you were able to sort of change a few things to make it seem less concrete, more like.
I added Arcana. 17.
Okay, I'd still say you're pretty much able to. I think, again, it's interesting because the page he wants doesn't have anything other than confirmation of the idea, if that makes sense. So the page he actually wants from the Earth book is just this thing. It's almost like this conclusion of the wizard saying, yes, I think it's possible. More experiments need to be done, but after, like he's saying, one could theoretically compel a mountain to open, ask a city's foundations to tell you its histories, learn memories hidden from within stone. Like, they're saying that they're concrete. I think this can be done. And there's still a good section of book to go past this point, if that makes sense. But if you imagine that this guy is theorizing, I think this is possible, but I've never read about it, this would be his evidence to keep pushing, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, I don't really know what I can potentially do.
Like I say, if you want to, you can go through the whole piece and make it all seem less concrete, more like somebody saying it could be real. I think this might be a thing. Maybe this could work. Rather than
I don't want to make it like
currently saying is, yes, give me a month and I'll have evidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to make it as, because I've got thoughts in myself that this has been done, and I don't know if we're being scryed on at the moment, because that, like, my whole, like, right now everyone can scry on us, so I'm trying to do this as simply as possible, and really, most importantly, I'm not telling Volu.
Out of game, if this is a top secret banned section of a library, would they not have protections against someone scrying in it?
I thought that could be possible.
I know, I'm just wondering.
I don't know. So that's why the most important part of this for me is Volu doesn't see or know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, you'll be able to do that. Volu, you would be able to copy your section down. And honestly, surprisingly easy. By the time you both sort of putting the books away, putting away your bits of paper that you've copied stuff down on, nobody really stops you or takes any looks. You don't seem like you're being followed. And as you're sort of exiting out, and you want to talk about some more things.
Yeah,
in which case, as you're going to start heading and looking into more things, that is where we will wrap up part 1 of this episode. Thank you very much for watching. As always, thank you very much for listening. If you want to hear and see what happens next, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you know when the videos are coming out. And as always, roll well. Bye.
This is the end of part 1. Part 2 airs Sunday 7 PM GMT, or will be linked in the top right of your screen now. Thank you for watching, and roll well.